Today is Monday, February 20th, 2023, and the Kentucky Wildcats have taken a regular season sweeping of the Tennessee Volunteers. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me, baby? One of the worst teams in recent memory took down the Vawls for the second time in the same season? Woo-hoo! We're going to let Bobby Hoops sound off postgame. He deserves the room to basically let all of the people know how he truly feels. He deserves the room. From there, we're going to talk about some SEC scores around the league and any other games that caught our eyes. Did Missouri win? No. Dang. Shucks. Hate that for them. Other than that, we want to let you know our good friends at Realty Executives are the presenting sponsor for another episode at the Gold Standard Podcast. Shout out to our good friends at Realty Executives, the local and trusted real estate company for all of your buying and selling needs in Knoxville, Tennessee. With over 40 years experience in this market, they are a great starting point if you need assistance with real estate in 2023. They sold over $3 billion in sales for 2022. Once again, we don't really know what that means, but by gosh, it must mean something. AKA, you should work with them. So, with that said, you should work with Austin White and Rob Logan for all of your real estate needs. They have a combined over 12 years of experience, and they will help you out, work hard, and get you to the finish line. Don't hesitate to call Rob today at 301-910-1136 in Austin at 865-719-2724. Let's ride. Boom. Welcome back. Episode 2, Gold Standard College Basketball Podcast. This is the Bobby Hoops gets to fire off episode. I don't feel as bad. I'm biased, but
do we have to pay rights if we're going to play Everybody Hurts? Because that's how I feel.
I say play it and then apologize later if they come after you. Just go ahead and play it. I mean, I'll play it on the track whenever it gets produced. Yeah, so for those wondering, the big commotion is that Kentucky somehow managed to beat Tennessee over the weekend on Saturday. We'll get into it. We'll break that down.
They beat them decidedly. It wasn't something we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll break it down.
I'm ready to go.
This is the Bobby Hoops instant reaction episode. I'm telling you, I wish I'd FaceTimed and at least recorded it to get your. But then again, I'm those probably would have been some hot reactions, which I think are great, but they're hot. So
well, I was at my in-laws' house, so I had to kind of keep it under wraps a little. I couldn't go,
sure.
I couldn't go full Steve Austin, lose my mind about it. But
understand,
which is probably good for my mental health and stuff like that. Got to keep it together a little bit with the in-laws.
Hey, I'm Big Papa. This is Bobby Hoops. Let's get into it. As we've said before, we like to really keep an eye out on what's happening around the SEC. So here's your quick recap of what happened this Saturday. South Carolina played LSU, arguably the worst two teams in the league. Carolina beats LSU. Arkansas over Florida handedly. Little Egg Bowl action on the court. Mississippi State taking it to Ole Miss in overtime. Alabama goes 2.0 like they did on Vanderbilt. They beat Georgia 108
oh my God.
59. Give me
Tennessee pissed them off last week, clearly.
Give me a break.
Pissed them off.
Vanderbilt, once again, game-winning bucket, 67-65 over the Fighting Bruce Pearls at Auburn. And then, did Missouri win?
Hey, did Missouri play?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
they lost.
Who'd they play? A&M? Surely they won, right? Oh, no, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Dang.
Again, shucks. Hate that.
Dang.
69. Oh. Nice.
Well, they were on the road, though, right? They were the road team.
No, they played A&M at home.
They lost at home.
Dang.
Shoot,
Hate that for them. Anywho,
hate that.
other than that, no other big sweeping scores actually, the one thing I meant to text you Friday, your freaking Terrapins, shout out to old school Bobby Hoops, taking it to Purdue and then lay an egg against Nebraska yesterday.
Dude, this season of college basketball is just there's no way to predict anything. Everybody is beating everybody. Nothing makes sense. It's just madness. Oh, it's madness. Oh.
Yeah, which I mean, like if you nerd out over it like we do, you love that.
Yeah.
Except when it's like your personal team, then you're in the kind of freak out mode.
Then you're just mad.
Yeah. That's it, baby. Yeah, other than that, the only other funny one was North Carolina lost again. They're like
weird year.
What a year. You go to the finals, you get what's his face, first year coaching, like it's the classic
Hubert Davis, yeah.
Thank you. So, former North Carolina guy gets the job, somehow comes into something great. They go to the championship game when they were like still on the bubble. Now all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, weren't they? What was their seed last year? They like
for a second I thought they were playing game, but they may have had to be like
I thought they were like maybe a 9 seed, maybe. Anyway.
Yeah. Other than that, no other big teams losing. That was the conference stuff. Look, let's jump into what everybody wants to get into. Tennessee, Kentucky. This segment is for Bobby Hoops. Bobby, you've got, I would say, 15 minutes if you want to even use all of that.
Hopefully not.
What's your thoughts? I mean, what free throws? What's got to change? Is it Rick's got to figure out some kind of defense or like different offensive scheme? Is it?
I mean, I've got 2 minds about this, about this game, and kind of about Tennessee's season in a nutshell. The first side of this is I take a step back from my fandom, try to look at this like a rational person, as much as you can be rational about, that's what I said. They're just kids. They're just kids. As much as I can try to be rational about college basketball, kind of like what you're talking about with Maryland and the black and whiteness of their 2 games. Like college basketball, you're just going to lose games. You're going to lose a few. And no matter how good you are, we've seen it this season. If you get into the top 3, you're probably not going to be there for very long because everyone keeps losing once they, as soon as you do something amazing that propels you, everyone is stumbling shortly thereafter. So we beat Alabama, number 1 in the country, without 2 of our top of our 5 starters, with Josiah James out and Julian Phillips, and we take it to them. Like I know we can, like Tennessee fans know we can. I mean, obviously we got up to number 2 a couple weeks ago, and so number 1, you're just going to lose games that you probably shouldn't lose in college basketball, no matter how good you are. It happens every year to everybody. And, along those lines, we didn't have Josiah James on Saturday. We didn't have Julian Phillips, and we sorely needed them. And, and the other thing is just rationally, I've got to hand it to the Kentucky Wildcats and to Coach Cal. I mean, they beat us at our own game. They, they out-rebounded us. They made us work hard for every shot. And, one could complain about the difference in free throws or the fouls called. Kentucky shot a lot more free throws than Tennessee did in both of our matchups this season. But I can't be that mad about it when we shoot less than 30% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
We were 4 of 14 from the free throw line. I can't get that mad about it. And on the flip side, Kentucky I know towards the end they kind of missed a few, but at one point, they they were spotted an extra 19 points just off free throws. And it was the same thing in the first game in Knoxville a few weeks ago. So rationally, I can look at, well, if all those things are true, then, not that surprising that we, dropped this one in Rupp Arena again. And you're on the road as well in a place that's traditionally hard to play in. But then I'm going to put on my on my orange sunglasses here. And goodness gracious, that sucked. That first half, 19 points scored. I mean, again, and another thing that have with Kentucky, our two games against Kentucky, the first one, Euros had the best game of his career. And in this game, Jemai Maystack is our leading scorer. But both guys who I think are averaging less than 5 points per game, in both of these games, they have to have the game of their life for us to even be, within distance of competing with Kentucky in this game. And when those things are happening, like, something has gone wrong. And things certainly went wrong on Saturday. I mean, Ziegler, once again, in foul trouble early. He only played 23 minutes in this game. We just need him. We need him so badly, especially when we don't have Josiah and Julian Phillips again. That's a lot. Adu, who had such a great game against Alabama, he only played 21 minutes in this one in foul trouble. Yeah, we can play the rupperies thing and get mad about the call and stuff like that, but we just played like crap. And thank goodness, Vescovy kind of came alive. I think he had all 17 of his points were in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, the first half, shots aren't falling. They're rolling in and out. Shots are falling for Kentucky. But, man, I look at the final score, 54-66. We outscored Kentucky in the second half, but it didn't matter when you spot them a 20-point lead. Yeah. And then, all these points you leave off the board when you're trying to get back in it and you really need to score points when the clock's not moving. Going 4 of 14 from the free throw line is it's unacceptable, really. And it's just poor Maystack. I love him. He plays so hard. He had his best game in the Tennessee jersey. He played great for Jemai Maystack, who tries really hard, plays great defense. He had 16 points. Man, could have used, not going 1 of 5 from the free throw line. And Euros, 0 of 3. Tyreek Key, bless him. My goodness. He was 0 of 5 from the game, missed a free throw. We really needed him. We needed offense.
He played 23 minutes and had 1 point. That's wild.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there are a few Tennessee fans that were pumped to see B.J. Edwards finally get in, the Knoxville Catholic kid. And bless him. Hey, here's your first game in Rupp Arena and try to give us something. We're down 20 points.
Yeah, sorry. There's some run for you, but you're getting shoved in because Zakai is in foul trouble. Sorry.
Yeah. The Zakai being in foul trouble, just like it was the same problem against Missouri a couple weeks ago. Can't believe we lost to Missouri. Could you imagine losing to Missouri?
I just can't imagine cheering for them. Well, whatever.
Anyway, I mean, here's Ziegler. It's like it's so hard for him to play, composed. Realize in a game like this where once again we need you to play like you did against Alabama and be on the court almost the whole game. We need you dishing out assists. We need big points from you. And he didn't do it. He had 2 fouls within, I think, like 4 or 5 minutes of the first half. And it's like, well, okay, there's that. We are behind quick. It was just really frustrating. It was frustrating to watch. Like the second half effort, I knew we wouldn't give up, and I knew we would, come back and play hard and play a lot better than we did in the first half because you sure as heck could play a lot worse than we played in the first half. But that game was just another example of, and again, I had to remind myself a lot that you're without 2 of your 5 starters who are both very competent offensively, or can be at least. both of them have been a little up and down consistency wise. But in a game like that, when you need points, James and Phillips would have I have to think they would have been a big game changer for us.
Do you think it's weird though that you took it to Bama and they both were out and you handled them like?
Absolutely, it's so weird, and that's
like,
where to me the guys who had the two best games for us against Bama were Ziegler and Adu, and they were both in foul trouble the whole time against Kentucky, and both Adu had 21 minutes, Ziegler had 23 minutes. I said in our first episode, a guy who I really think we're going to need to play well up in Lexington is Olivier Nkamwa, and he stunk, man. He couldn't buy a bucket. He 6 points, 24 minutes. Only 4 rebounds. None of those guys could handle Oscar. And even when you try to hack him, Oscar was 10 of 11 from the free throw line, made him pay, which is what good players do. You find ways to get points, and we didn't have. The effort was there. I will always. Rick Barnes teams are always going to try, and the effort will be there as it was in the second half. But it just comes to this big problem that since the Grant and Admiral teams of when the offense as it's designed isn't working, we don't have an answer. We don't have a plan B. We don't have another way to try to get points, get buckets. When we're missing all these shots in the first half, you'd like to at least then think, all right, well then go to the line, go to the hole, try to get layups, work yourself inside out, try to get some free throws, and then we miss all our free throws. So it's just frustrating that we have this team that, multiple times this year we look like a top 5 team that could win it all, that could go to a Final Four, and then we have 7 losses, and I think all 7 of them are to unranked teams, and then we have a win over the number 5 team, the number 4 team, and the number 1 team, and it's like we either look like a top 5 team or an unranked team. It's very frustrating that we can't find any consistency. And I think Barnes was even asked about it after the game, like, what do we got to do to get this team to be more consistent? And he even said, I don't know. Just like, I don't really want to hear that.
Yeah, not exactly the thing you want to hear from your head ball coach.
I appreciate the honesty, I guess, a little bit, but like, I don't know. This team is too talented to me. And, I have to think having everybody back at full health, you wonder if we really, really, really needed, James and Phillips to play on Saturday, they probably would have. That is probably, you want them a lot for that game, but you probably didn't need them because, hey, we just beat the number 1 team in the country without them, so maybe we'll be okay. It was just frustrating. There's parts of it that I can talk myself out of, just with shots just didn't fall in the first half. You're without 2 good offensive players, but man, I think here's two games now where Kentucky has beaten us at our own game. We play similar styles of offense, and Kentucky just beat us that twice at our own game. Shot weight, the difference in free throws just make a difference, and that feels very like old man on the front lawn of me to make your free throws. I hear my father, Don Logan, somewhere screaming, "They're free! They're free!
Yeah,
they're there for the taking. Make your free throws."
Obviously, free throws aren't free. I mean,
they're free.
If you want to prove that theory, yeah.
So
free throws are the next easiest baskets besides a layup.
Yeah,
and it's like I don't like what else do you? Yeah, it's just like it's so elementary. It's like it's free throws. It's either you physically like need help constructing your shot, or it's mental. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
or it could be both for some guys that like.
Well, and again, a lot of the guys who took the most free throws in this game were the ones who usually don't shoot them very well. I mean, Vescovy didn't go to the free throw line at all. He's probably our best free throw shooter. Ziegler was 2 of 3. Everyone else who attempted a free throw are all bad free throw shooters. And again, that's you lost by 12, and the Kentucky had 19 more points off of free throws. It's hard to, that feels like as much as we tried to get back in, I think we cut it to 8 in the second half. It's just there's how you could have won, and a game that you, as badly as we played, we still could have won if you don't, or at least given us a chance to win if you don't go 4 of 14 from the free throw line. That's just, and I guess so. It just speaks. I think the last thing, and then I'll throw it back to you, is just, I don't know what the heck this team is going to do. We could win it all, and I don't really know if I'd be that surprised. Probably would be a little surprised. At least Final Four. Yeah. Or we could get bounced in the first round. I have no idea, because this is what Tennessee has done all season, and at least the last few years, is we show up against and play the best basketball in the country, it appears sometimes, and then we just lay an egg a week later. I don't know. This is. I find myself. I don't feel very down about. I'm frustrated with the loss, but I just don't know. We are so hot and cold. Sometimes I wish we're hitting our stride, and this is the time of the year to really start springing together some good wins, going into the SEC tournament. And it's I know we could win the SEC tournament. I know we could. I saw us do it last year. I know we could make a run. It's we were some crazy 3-pointers in an overtime away from going to Elite Eight in 2019.
Sure.
And I know we can do it. It's just a matter of doing it. And I don't know. I don't know if they can. So amidst all that frustration, I still don't feel that down about us, because we're not at full strength and we're not fully healthy. And when we get there, we'll be better than this, I hope. But yeah, it's just about, Rick, it's time to prove it in March. So
yep.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
There you have
Good job to your Cats, though.
Thanks. Not like that upset about it. I will say the only thing that I quote unquote was correct about was saying Kaysen was the X factor guy that has to do something. And
he played great.
I will give Kaysen a lot of credit, and I talked to biasly several other Kentucky fans, including my dad. And one big thing we all kept harping on was it got to a point where Kaysen, and I was just looking at it a second ago, he played 39 minutes.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to play that much. The problem is you've got 2 guys injured in Wheeler and CJ. And if we have even one of them back, Kaysen plays, 30, 32 minutes, which to all of us is yeah, that's reasonable. But that even then is very draining on a kid's body to go play.
Mm-hmm.
It's he's going to go play hard. So, we were he's barely getting across the court, and then we're not even running our offense until there's 15 seconds left in the shot clock, which, at that point you're well, you just be walking the ball up, but it's he's tired. He played 39 minutes, and I give him credit. He had out of 39 minutes played, he had 16.6 rebounds and shot 6 for 14. And it's I can't ask the kid.
6 assists too. You were saying on the first episode how he's someone who his camp's kind of been he could be a one and done guy. Well, there's evidence for it right there. Played the whole game, 16 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds against the top 10 team. It was, he bullied Vescovy in the paint on one play. That was just oh, brother, you just got worked.
Yeah. I didn't even know he could post up a guy, but it's like he's
Yeah.
built like a linebacker. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
uh, that, and then the one guy who, thank goodness, keeps making me eat crow, Chris Livingston, went 12 and 10, 37 minutes, shot 4 for 5 from field goals. I mean, he's starting to emerge as like a good, when you've got guys hurt, you need somebody else to step up and be somebody. Chris Livingston, thank you. Finally.
Yeah.
Said last
10
episode.
boards too.
Yeah. I mean, he out rebounded Oscar, which nobody
That doesn't happen very often. Yeah.
Well,
we were lucky Oscar got in some foul trouble too.
Sure. And I feel like maybe one of the few overall takeaways I had is like, I think in a very off year for Kentucky standards when it comes to talent, winning, all those things, this being one of the down ones, odd in a weird way, they just match up with Tennessee very well. So if you're wanting to go big, they can do that. I mean, let's be honest, that's like Cal's dream. It was up to him.
Yeah.
He 4 bigs and 1 guard, and we would just play the first one to 50, which would drive me absolutely insane. I'd probably just turn the TV off. But yeah, it's a weird matchup thing. And for whatever reason, it just worked out this year where Kentucky can match up. And then at that point, it's like, whose bigs are better? It's mine or yours. And they've been able to do it twice now. And it's been shocking to me because I thought, yes. And I try to listen like objectively, but like also go to like, Tony Basilio's show and just be like, what's Tony thinking?
Oh boy.
It was good.
I shudder to think.
The one like big sweeping, and I'm not saying it's wrong. It just, if anything, made me like think, okay, why is this? One big sweeping thought was like, Kentucky's they're terrible. How did we lose to them twice? And I'm like, I get it. You're frustrated. And like, you probably should split the series. You probably should. I will say that like, Tennessee is better. The problem is, I'm like, it's not that Kentucky doesn't have talent. They have talent.
That's why I can never be that surprised to lose to Kentucky. They always have talent.
Yeah, they've got talent. It was just a matter of, for whatever reason, they just hadn't like put it together. Now, have they had some games where it did click and it was gelling? Yeah, there was. They obviously, they also lost to South Carolina and Georgia, which you're like, blow up the team, like call it a season. Like, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
But you like to say that they don't have talent. That's a lie. That's not true because you've got CJ Frederick, who led the entire country in 3-point shooting percentage. We can break down like who was on that team, blah, blah, blah. But that's just fact. He did. Reeves led his team in points scored on average in the 20s and in the MVs, or I can't think of the Illinois State, whatever conference and league they're in. Mid-major, yes. But the thing is, like, we had 2 dudes who can score. Okay, Wheeler was the best. He was the assist leader in the SEC last year. So it's just like, I can name up Oscar, National Player of the Year last year. Like, they've got talent. They just couldn't put it together consistently. So, but whatever. I know more of those frustrations were just coming from the fact, like, it's Kentucky. We have a better team. You shouldn't lose. I agree.
Yeah.
From that standpoint.
Yeah.
I think my other like 2 big takeaways were, and I said it, I watched the game at the bar downtown with 2 buddies, our friends Landon and Caleb, who run More Important Issues. Shout out to those guys. As we were watching the game, I said, this is a disgrace to college basketball at one point when it was in the first half, and it was like a combined 20 points scored. I'm like, this is a disgrace to college basketball. This is so bad.
We were laughing about was it A&M last week who had 4 points with 9 minutes left in the first half? I'm like, we're going to be worse than that.
Yeah.
And it was a gross first half.
Then the other one was, I am cool if Tennessee or teams want to play physical, which is a very much Tennessee Rick Barnes thing. Like, we will be physical. Totally cool with that. You have to match that if you're the other team. My thing is, though, don't let them basically play football for 5 minutes and then think, oh well, we'll interject ourselves as refs, and then both teams are in the bonus with 11 minutes left in the game. I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
thing, I'm sitting there thinking to the average fan who's just tuning in for the last 5 games before tournaments start. And they see programs like that with 11 minutes left, shooting free throws in the bonus. I'm like, this is so dumb. This is why people get frustrated and turn the game off, because they're like, well, this is going to take an hour and a half before the game finishes.
Yeah.
And like, whatever, and they tune out. I just whatever. If you nerd out over basketball, obviously you're going to tune in and keep watching. But otherwise, those were my like two big frustrating things. I'm glad they figured it out. They won with two guys injured that we need back. We'll see. I feel good. My cousin Wes, I called him after the game, and he immediately was just like, "We're back. I'm all the way back, baby." And I was like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I think we need, out of the 4 games left, I personally, and I was just looking on the updated bracketology stuff, they're still in the last 4 in, which was like, whatever. I mean, it's just Joe Lunardi's opinions plus what the committee standards are, and that's fine.
He's just a dude.
Just a dude. I respect his game. But my thing's like, I think they're out of date. I think that they are just in the tournament, and at this point, I think you need to go at least 2-2 in your last 4 games to like firmly just in. Probably still need to win one more game in the conference tournament to feel good. But outside of that, I think they're in. Thank you, Tennessee, quite frankly. And there was several opinions that were like, we have helped them get in the tournament. And I'm like, I don't care what it takes for them to get in. Just get in. So thank you, Tennessee.
I mean, yeah, Kentucky, they could very well go 4-0 down the stretch.
They could. And now
they can beat everybody. Auburn might be tough, and Vanderbilt's scrappy.
Vanderbilt is, I'm like, I don't like love playing them right now. They're just starting to like click. With that said,
they're 5th in the SEC right now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's going to be a wild finish, I think. Just basically 2 through 5. Who's going to like for seeding for conference tournament stuff? Tennessee at A&M tomorrow night, 7 p.m. ESPN. Cats got Florida on the road Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Personally, I feel pretty good about the Florida game. Just go in. I don't even care if it's by 2 points. Castleton's out. You should handle it. Your quick take on A&M game tomorrow night.
I don't feel great about it. I mean, A&M's been – they're finally ranked. The Cowards finally ranked A&M. But if it was in Knoxville, I would feel a heck of a lot better. I don't know. I've not read anything about if James and Phillips are going to be back. I do know if there's anything that I feel like I can be confident about with Tennessee is coming off a loss, we are usually Rick's got them ready. And after as badly as we played up in Lexington over the weekend, I have to think this team is coming into A&M with a better mindset and more prepared, at least to play more disciplined. And man, if James and Phillips are out again, Zakai has got to stay on the court as much as possible and avoid foul trouble. And I don't know who else we get. And Vescovi's going to be. He's good for his 10 to 15 pretty much every game. So we'll need points from someone else. Ideally, that's probably Kamwa, because he can do it. He has shown he can do it. But man, I just really hope that we get those, Phillips and James, getting them back will be huge for us. I don't know when that's going to happen, but
Sure.
So I don't feel super confident going into College Station.
Understandable. It's not an easy place to win, especially when A&M's cooking.
Yeah,
and they deserve the respect. I mean, they were cooking the season last year. Had a rough start again, kind of we talked about previously to the beginning of the season. Then all of a sudden, get into league play, and you're like, wait a second, like something's different. You only have 2 losses in league play.
Yeah,
And potentially taking first and winning it. Like, I doubt it. I think Bama's gonna. I don't know who. Bama's gonna, but chances are Bama's gonna win it. They'll be fine. Take the number 1 seed in the league, and then probably get 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. One quick game I am interested in. I do not dabble in the betting side of things, but I'm not like telling people not to bet. I like to hear bettors who are throwing big money out on games that I'm like, I would have to sleep on the couch if I betted on college basketball games.
Yeah.
Baylor and Kansas State. We'll see what happens there. I feel like there's a seed line up for that game.
Big 12 basketball, always good, always fun.
Do you have one game, or maybe that was it?
I mean, tonight TCU and Kansas. That's a top 25 matchup. TCU's at home.
TCU
that should be a fun one. What'd you say?
The TCU took the first one from Kansas.
That's right. That'll be a fun one. Little late night, 9 p.m. Eastern time tip.
Oh, I'll be up.
Have a full belly, getting tired, ready to go to bed. Nope. Watching some Big 12 hoops.
Not for these dudes. Not for these dudes. Hey, listeners out there, don't forget. Actually, I shouldn't say don't forget. We're doing a new feature, which is the mailbag. If you got any questions between now and the next episode, let's just say it's on Thursday night. Shoot us some questions. We love to read them out live over air. I would say call in, but I don't have like a Google phone or nothing like for you to call my flip phone and be like, hey, man.
Don't call in. We won't answer.
It's our show. We can do whatever we want. And then, of course, this is probably the reminder thing. We will have our dog of the week. So that's more of a reminder for us to go ahead and be on the lookout. We're watching. Don't think we aren't. But it may not be you. Dog of the week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter. So other than that, that's all we got. Instant reactions from the weekend. I'm Big Papa.
Bobby Hoops.
Thanks for tuning in with us. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Hor, hor.